This video will show you how to replace the outer tie rod end on a Mazda 3. This is part of your front steering and suspension located behind your front wheel. A quick note about doing this job, once it's complete, you're going to want to get yourself a 4-wheel alignment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. The first thing we have to do is safely raise and support the front of the vehicle so the wheel's off the ground. Once you've completed that, you're going to remove all 5 of your 21mm lug nuts and the wheel. Now that we have the wheel off, let's look along the rear side of the brakes here. This is where we can see our outer tie rod end, the inner tie rod end, and our jam nut in between. We're using a 21mm for the jam nut and a 19mm to hold that tie rod end. Turn the jam nut clockwise from this position. That's going to turn it up the inner tie rod end, breaking it free from the outer. Now that we have that broken free, let's move to the outer tie rod end mounting nut next. Now to dislodge this, you're going to find that you have a locking cotter pin. These come in all different shapes and sizes. Just go ahead and use some pliers or cutters, remove it. Once you have that out of there, just a quick inspection. If it looks like it's reusable, set it aside. Otherwise, dispose of it and replace it. We'll use a 17mm to loosen our mounting nut. Once it's off, just a quick inspection, and then we're going to start it back on a couple threads. We'll use some penetrant in this area. Continuing on, we need to separate the tie rod end from the knuckle. We don't want to cause any damage. I'm just going to carefully use my hammer, cause some vibration. The tie rod should drop down. The nut will prevent it from falling and potentially hurting anybody. Now we can start unscrewing the outer tie rod end from the inner tie rod end. As we start turning this counterclockwise, count the amount of turns, so during the installation, we can reinstall it the same. 1, 2, and so on. Now I got 25, your results may vary. And there it is, friend. Now that we have that outer tie rod end off of there, the next thing we need to do is clean and inspect the inner tie rod end threading. For this, I'm just going to use some parts cleaner. We'll give this a quick wipe, make sure nothing's rotted, weak, or damaged. Now that we've cleaned that, let's apply some anti-seize to that threaded portion where the outer tie rod end is going to sit. Let's prepare to install our brand new outer tie rod end. Now, as far as the outer tie rod end is concerned, we're going to take this and start turning it on the same amount of turns it took to remove it in the first place. 1, 2, and so on. We're going to attach the tie rod end to the steering knuckle next. We'll just turn this as necessary. We should be able to slide the tie rod stud up and through. Continue on with your mounting nut. Now we'll tighten that mounting nut and torque it to 43 foot-pounds. Now we're looking at the jam nut here. Let's go ahead and turn this so it bottoms out against the tie rod end. Now we're going to hold onto our tie rod end shaft while we turn this, snugging it tighter against the tie rod end, locking everything together. Make sure that's nice and tight. Now one last quick inspection in this area and we can reinstall our wheel. Once you have your wheel in place, start on all 5 of your 21mm lug nuts. Bottom them out, we'll get the wheel safely on the ground and torque each of them to 100 foot-pounds. Now we have the wheel safely on the ground, we're going to be torquing these in a crisscross manner to that 100 foot-pounds. Torqued. Okay friend, we finished our installation. The next thing you want to do is take your vehicle for a road test, listen for odd noises, and get yourself a 4-wheel alignment. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.